You may remember at the beginning of the year, we used the grammatical term tense to indicate the time of verb action. And so far, we've had present tense and future tense in both first and second conjugation. Today, we want to get our third tense, and I want to start off with a timeline. Consider this. Here's present tense. There we are right now in the present. Now, typically, we would put future tense somewhere out to the right. Hasn't happened yet. And as you know, our helping words for present tense, am, is, are, and our helping word for future is will. So our new tense today, I'm going to go back to the left of present tense, and we're going to label it the perfect tense. Now here's the thing about the perfect tense. It doesn't mean that it's better than the other tenses. Perfect tense simply means action that is completed. And here's a neat thing about the word perfect. Any quiz or test you ever take, in any class, you can go home and tell your parents that night that you did perfect on that quiz or test, as long as you answered every single question. If you did, then you have perfected the quiz. Now when they come back and you get an F on that thing and they say, well, you told me you did perfect. And the answer is, yes, you did because you completed it. That doesn't mean you got them perfectly right. You may have gotten perfectly wrong, but at least you have done all of them. Okay? So perfect tense shows completed action in the past. And our helping words in English will be has, have, and just our plain old past tense forms. Words like sang, swam, painted, stuff like that. Okay? So that's what we're talking about for perfect tense. Well, what does that look like in Latin? We finally get to use the third dictionary entry. You've been memorizing 4 dictionary entries for verbs since the beginning of the year. And so far, we've only really used the first 2. Now we finally get to use the third one. So let's take a good old verb. Let's take something like porto, portare, portavi, portatus, to carry. Okay? Now what I'm about to tell you, this is fantastic news for you. This, I'm going to give you the rules for the perfect tense. All conjugations. So the rules I'm going to give you are good for good for first conjugation, good for second conjugation, and good for conjugations or groups of verbs that we don't even know yet. These rules will always be the same. All right? So step number 1, drop I from third dictionary entry. Okay? Notice the third entry ends with an I. Think about other words. Specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus, to watch. Or maybe a second conjugation verb, dokeo, dokera, dokui, with an I. Doctus, to teach. All third dictionary entries end with an I. And your first step is to drop that off. Then you're going to add your new perfect tense endings. Singular and plural columns. First person, second person, and third person rows. And so here we go. We're going to add on an I. Yeah, I know you dropped it off and you added it right back on. Then second person singular, I-S-T-I or isti. Third person singular, I-T or it. First person plural, I-M-U-S. Second plural, I-S-T-I-S. Third person plural, E-R-U-N-T. I think you'll agree those look fairly different. But if you look closely, there are some similarities. Notice, down here in third person singular, we still have a T. In first person plural, we still have an M-U-S. In second person plural, we still have a T-I-S. And in third person plural, we still have an N-T. So there are some similarities to things that you already know. But this is a new set of endings that you're going to need to memorize. All right, so right now on your paper, see if you can conjugate in both Latin and English our verb porto in the perfect tense. Hit pause on the video, do that, and then check back in. All right, let's see how well you did. You should have set up your chart like this. If we're dropping the I from the third part, we should have P-O-R-T-A-V as our stem. And as I always say, I like to write that down everywhere so we don't have to figure it out again later. So now we got our stem, P-O-R-T-A-V, and now we simply add on our endings. Portawi, portawisti, portawit, portawimus, portawistis, portawerunt. And if you got the English, you should have had something like I have carried, or simply I carried. You have carried, or you carried. He, she, or it has carried, or he, she, or it carried. We have carried, or we carried. You have carried, or you carried. And portaverunt, they have carried, or they carried. And that's perfect tense in Latin.